Hello everyone, this is the Cathaltist again, and welcome to another Here's How. Today we're just going to kind of focus on the Belfry Gargoyle boss fight, and to a lesser extent, where you can go about getting some better equipment if you're a lower level character trying to make your way through Undead Burg. So, since this is still very early on in the game, there's not going to be all that many choices on where to get new armor and weapons just yet, unless you really want to go out of your way and visit some of the more, I won't call them high-level areas, but higher-risk areas. So, what you can do if you are looking for better armor or weapons at this point, from the bonfire right in Undead Burg, you go down here, watch out for this guy behind the bookshelves, and then going down these stairs and out this door, you will find a merchant who sells a bunch of very useful little items, including a key that you will be using later on if you didn't take the master key. Costs 1,000 souls, but it's well worth it if you want to build a mage character. Other than that, he sells some decent weapons down here. Of particular note are the scimitar and the rapier. Two good dex weapons. The rapier actually you can use from behind a shield, stabbing out while you keep your shield up, so very useful for certain fights with smaller enemy characters in the game. Beyond that, he's got some shields that you can buy if you don't already have a 100% physical resistance shield. I think I usually go with the heater shield, but I'm not really sure. It's all based on your playstyle and what you're looking for. Other interesting thing, if you're making a dex build, you can kill this guy and he drops what will be your first katana. I was never very good at pronouncing this, but I think it's called the Uchigatana. Either way, it's a nice, very nice sword to have at the beginning of the game if you have the dexterity for it. It's got a very unique moveset, and we'll probably take a look at that some other time when we talk about dex builds some more. So, what we're going to do for the rest of this video is look at the Belfry Gargoyle boss fight. So this is going to be the first real boss that you're facing in Dark Souls. And as such, it comes with your first real boss cutscene. So the Asylum Demon and the Tauros Demon, those were nothing more than little mini-bosses, just made to kind of get you used to the mechanics and give you some idea of what it's going to be like to fight bigger enemies later on in the game. This is where we start to see what you can actually expect to find in a real boss fight from here on out. Very interesting mechanics thrown in that kind of require you to use little bits and pieces of everything that you've learned thus far in the game. Anything from dodging, which I failed to do there, to using your shield effectively, which I failed to do there, to timing your attacks to kind of match up with the enemy's movement, which I am continuing to fail to do here. And then, not to spoil anything, but you'll also have to rely on your ability to fight multiple enemies at once, which you should have gotten a little practice in with on the way up to this boss fight, as you have to go through an entire room of enemies all at once. But, yeah, we'll look at that in a minute or two here. Now notice that the attacks that I'm doing right now are doing very little actual damage to the gargoyle itself. What you can do to kind of up your damage output here, I would suggest first off two-handing your sword any chance you get when you move in for the attack. Aside from that, I'd also kind of suggest not using a sword. Find a crushing weapon. A mace, hammer. I personally like the Morning Star because of the bleed effect. I don't believe you can actually make the gargoyles bleed, but it's a nice thing to have on other enemies. And here's where the fight gets really interesting, when a second gargoyle comes in and starts breathing fire all over the place at you. So the first part of the fight, until you get the first gargoyle down to half health, it's pretty straightforward. It's once that second one comes in that we start having to deal with some higher level thinking and fighting as far as this goes. So as you can see, I've switched to the Morning Star. kind of a slow attack speed on it, but it deals a ton of damage to these guys. And if you find that it's not enough damage just on its own, I'm still kind of going for a strength build, so I do have extra strength behind me, which is helping. You can also upgrade it with some of the materials that you would have found thus far. Might be a little difficult to get to the first blacksmith right off the bat, but if you make the journey, you will be able to upgrade your weapons and armor. What I just did there was attacking the gargoyle's tail will actually break it off and give you the gargoyle tail axe. Fairly useless weapon, but it does remove the possibility of the gargoyle actually using its tail to fight you, which can be a huge advantage for you. So yeah, basically as far as real advice for this boss goes, just keep both the gargoyles in frame so you always know where both of them are. If this means unlocking from them, that's fine. Don't worry about staying locked on. They are very vulnerable while they're breathing that fire, so if you can get both of them into a fire attack at once, it would be ideal for you to get a chance to run behind them and then attack. They will occasionally give you a good opportunity to heal as well, so this is where you kind of have to manage your time and resources. You can either use these brief instances where they're winding up for an attack or breathing fire to move in and try to attack them some more, or you can use them to heal up. So it's entirely up to you how you want to use these opportunities. The one other thing I was going to say about crushing weapons, like the mace, a couple good hits from it, and you can stagger the gargoyles. They're one of the few bosses in the game that you can very consistently stagger with a good melee weapon. So this will prevent them from attacking for about a second, and allow you to get another good swing in while they're basically falling over themselves in pain. So again, wait for opportunities like that where they're breathing fire, and then hit them as hard as you possibly can while they're doing it. That right there was a stagger animation. As you can see, it interrupts their attack completely and gives you a chance to get another hit in or to run away and heal. Not that it mattered too much since I just got smacked in the face with that halberd. Okay, and that pretty much sums up the fight itself. From there, you just move on up this tower and ring your first Bell of Awakening. Now, I know this isn't going to be as helpful for magic builds, but honestly, if you're playing through this as a mage build of any kind, this fight gets quite a bit easier, as you have some ranged options. I'm doing these guides mainly from a melee perspective. So, let me know if this was helpful to any of you in the comments. Trying to think. I'm not even sure what the next one's really going to be, but we'll have another boss fight involved in it. Aside from that, I guess just have a good one. See you next time.